Thank you for tuning in to this installment of Business Break. I'm Bethany Schatz, and today I'm going to give a brief update on recent amendments to the Business Corporations Act. The amendments were made by way of the Red Tape Reduction Implementation Act and took effect on March 29, 2021. There are essentially two main changes. The first is that the amendments remove the Canadian residency requirement for corporate directors, and the second is that there's a new requirement for corporations to appoint an agent for service in Alberta. The previous legislation contained a number of requirements related to corporate directors and Canadian residency. These requirements included that a quarter of directors must be Canadian residents, that a quarter of directors present at a meeting must be Canadian residents, otherwise directors could not transact business, that if directors appointed a committee of directors, at least a quarter of the members must be Canadian residents, and that if directors appointed a managing director, he or she must be Canadian residents. All of these requirements have now been removed. There is, however, a new requirement for corporations to appoint an agent for service in Alberta. The agent must reside in Alberta and have an address for service within Alberta. Specifically, the address must be an office that is accessible to the public during normal business hours. A corporation must send a notice of appointment for the agent of service to the registrar, as well as any notice of the change in the name, address, or other contact information for the agent. A corporation may also appoint an alternative agent for service if desired. The corporation will also be required to maintain in its corporate records a consent from the agent consenting to act. An agent for service who resigns as agent is required to give the corporation 60 days notice of resignation. Existing corporations have 1 year in which to appoint an agent for service. Failure to appoint an agent for service by the deadline of March 29, 2022 may result in the dissolution of the corporation by the registrar. A brief note about service: because of this new requirement, corporations may now be served notices and documents by delivery or registered mail to its agent for service. Corporations whose registered office is that of their lawyer may also want to appoint their lawyer as agent of service, and this can be discussed with your lawyer. The new agent for service requirement also applies to extra-provincially registered corporations and companies registered under the Companies Act. So if your entity falls under one of these two categories, the new requirement also applies to you. However, for extra-provincially registered corporations, there was already an attorney for service requirement. So this has just been changed to the agent for service system. The same requirements apply, and the register will just be converting all existing attorneys for service to agents for service. That completes this segment of Business Break. Thanks for tuning in. If your business has any questions about these changes, please feel free to contact myself or another member of our corporate team.